Grok from XAI really just came out of nowhere when Elon decided to build big data centers in order to challenge rival ChatGPT. But are many people using Grok, and does it really rank on the leaderboards? Let's look today at how we are using Grok, some of the features that they are releasing on an almost weekly basis, and how it actually sits within the leaderboard. So if we look at the leaderboard here on LM Arena, we can see that Grok sits a fair way down on the list. And I have quite a lot of opinions about this. Obviously, Elon is shipping a whole bunch of features. So here's one where AI can now generate talking videos. Teases major upgrade to image feature. Soon, it will be able to deliver 30-minute episodes and video games. Grok ranks #1 for forecasting among LLMs. There's a new model here for agentic coding where Grok Code Fast 1 is being released. Plus, there's even very questionable features of these companions, which I find super weird. I have no idea why they are releasing those types of things. That's probably the weirdest part of all of this is there are so many features that I feel like they're not doing anything amazingly just yet, which is why we find ourselves not really using too many parts of Grok. Now, the parts that I do use quite a lot, anytime I'm trying to find sentiment analysis from Twitter, I mean, there's a lot of crazy people on Twitter, but there's also quite a lot of very insightful. All of the biggest tech leaders are on Twitter or X because it's such an easy way to chat amongst each other. So I try to go for those types of analyses of sentiment to when we're using Grok. But there are some interesting features that I think within probably 6 months' time, knowing Elon, they're probably going to be at the top of these leaderboards in a very great way. And the most important part of using any AI tool, and I talk about this in basically every video I create for these types of tools, is setting up your context first. So we want to make sure that you come into your settings and you want to go to your behavior, check that you're happy with these. But the most important one is customize your response. I like concise responses. And once you've customized that response, then you'll get much clearer answers in the way that you like them. The next important thing to know is that it does have a similar feature where it will choose what type of model to use. Now, I've heard a lot of great things about Heavy, where it's doing a huge amount of research in order to pull the best reports. So I've heard good things about that. But by allowing the model to choose how it should think, I just think that works a whole lot better than if you were to control it. And especially if those times where you're being lazy and you don't want to change the model, you don't want to do those few extra clicks, then it's going to figure it out for you. You can also have these personas here. So you can have a companion persona, unhinged comedian, loyal friend, homework, helper, Grok doc, or a therapist. We've also got a latest news tab here. We've got our create images and we've got our deep research. Now, we also have our voice control, even on the web app, where you can ask via voice and speak to it via voice inside of the app here. You obviously need to control or allow your controls so that it will open up. It'll also sync to your phone there, which you might have heard in the background. Next, we have our Imagine. Now, if I look at the images generated by Imagine for using Grok, I don't think they're as good as many of the other different platforms that are out there. Obviously, Nano Banana by Google right now is going crazy. We can also look on LM Arena and we can go here, image edit. We've got some of these ones. So Flux is quite high on image edit. We've got also here text to image. So obviously Google up the top there, GPT image 1, Quen, Dream, Flux is there. So yeah, it's not showing anywhere on the image generations. If you want to look into a good platform for image generation, we use fowl.ai. I'm going to do a video on that soon. So make sure you subscribe for that. But you can get access to a whole bunch of different aggregators there in a single account. So I do like Fowl in that sense, because we can then access Quen and Dream and Flux and some of the others as well. So back to Grok now. So yeah, we've got the ability to generate images. And then of course, our files. I do like this in the sense that once you upload a file once, then it's going to sit there and you can use it again in future. So I do like that feature. The next one here is tasks. I think this is laid out a whole lot better as well, is the tasks. It's also quite hard to find inside of ChatGPT. So you can align a lot of your tasks up for each day. So you might want to do like a daily newsletter on the latest sports. So we can set that up, and then every day at 5:50, it's going to do a research and tell me about the upcoming must-watch soccer games, including location, schedule, and key highlights. So that could be quite beneficial. Obviously, you'd do a much more detailed prompt than that if you were to do this in real life. But I think the way that they've laid tasks out is way better than any platform. Overall, I think the aesthetic and the UI of Grok is probably the best that is out there. And then that's why Elon is in charge. He's the best business person in the world, whether you like him or hate him. But the way that he builds products is pretty incredible. I think that long term, more and more people are going to use Grok because even if the models are not as good, people love a good UI. So if they continue to make this UI provide enough information so that it doesn't get cluttered, then I think they're going to do well. Whereas if we look at Perplexity, for example, and there's probably a Perplexity video out already, I think theirs is way too cluttered and very hard to figure out. I do like their concise answers that they provide, but they need to like declutter their environment a little bit. And then I think they could get more traction. Now, one of the best features for all of these tools are the abilities to create projects. So whether they're called projects or jams or spaces or any other name, I think these are the most important things to understand when you're using these chat AI tools. You can set up projects for all types of different internal projects for your business. So you might set one up for your email marketing. You might set one up for your project management. You might set one up for a launch coming up. For all of the different things that you do inside of your business, give it enough context that it needs in order to give you more specific outcomes or more specific answers for the prompting that you're adding to it. So this is something that we're starting to add into our services at makebigmoves.ai, where we're helping our clients set up their projects. We're doing deep dives with all of our team members in order to pull out all the information and instructions that are required to make sure these projects are super beneficial throughout the entire organization. Now, what I like about Grok specifically is that it has a share button. So we can share this to either everyone or we can share it to specific emails. So this makes it super easy to set these up once and then have them available for everybody in your team. Plus, then any of the conversations that you have in this project will be held underneath this section here, so you can always come back to them later. Now, if you sign up to x.com and get a premium account, you can get access to Grok AI included, or you can head to grok.com and sign up directly on the website there. So overall, I'm very bullish in terms of where Grok is going. Now, I wish I lived in the US because I own a Tesla and I know that Grok's getting implemented into Teslas. And I think that could be a great feature. The amount of times that I have a bunch of thoughts when I'm driving along a highway and I have time to think and I really love to know that information, then it'd be so good just hit the button and ask the AI how that is. Now it becomes even more incredible if we can then somehow figure out how to have something like an MCP in between that. So as you're driving, you can figure out a whole bunch of things for your business. And then you might say, okay, add that to my Airtable for creating this content. So if we can have that connection at one point, which I'm sure Elon will get to, then that's when Grok becomes very interesting for Tesla owners at least. But overall, if you don't own a Tesla, even if you hate Elon, you don't want to be sleeping on these tools as they become better and better. Ultimately, the tools are going to help us be more productive, do more work more efficiently, increase profit margins, and ultimately just build the businesses that we want. And that's really what we try and do here at Big Moves, is find the ways to use these tools for business owners. So if you are a business owner and you want to learn how to use these AI tools, also if you want to learn the tools not to use because they're not really worth it, then make sure you subscribe. And we're doing our best to review as many of these tools as possible. Now, if you are interested in the next very interesting tool, make sure you go to this video next, and I'll see you there.